Welcome to the San Francisco Public Library Commission meeting for February 12th, 2026. The time is 4:30. I'm Margot Schaub, and I serve as the Commission Affairs Analyst. This meeting is being held in person in the main library Latino auditorium, and members of the public can observe the meeting using Zoom by following the link in the library's event calendar or by calling 1-877-853-5247 and entering ID number 970-1350-7616. Members of the public who are attending the meeting in person may provide public comment for up to 2 minutes for each discussion or action item on the agenda. Library commissioners in attendance are Vice President Sean Calhoun, Commissioners Lopez, Bolander, Jones, Kennison, and Menon.
Thank you very much. Hello and welcome to the February 12th, 2026 meeting of the San Francisco Public Library Library Commission. We will start with the Ramaytush Ohlone land acknowledgement. The area known now as San Francisco is the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples of the San Francisco Peninsula. As the original peoples of this land, the Ramaytush Ohlone have never ceded, lost, nor forgotten their responsibilities as caretakers for this place. We recognize that we benefit from living, working, and learning on their traditional homeland. As uninvited guests, we affirm their sovereign rights as First Peoples and wish to pay our respects to the ancestors, elders, and relatives of the Ramaytush community. All materials are available on the Commission website and at the back of the room. Today we have a total of 6 agenda items. Item number 1, we now turn to City Librarian Michael Lambert.
Thank you, Acting President Calhoun, and good evening, Commissioners. It's not often that we get to celebrate the appointment of new library commissioners and the reappointment of other library commissioners, but today is one of those notable happy days. Let's see, I got to catch up here, sorry. 3 weeks ago, Mayor Lurie made an announcement regarding his appointment of two new members of the Library Commission and the reappointment of Commissioners Lopez and Bolander. So I created this brief PowerPoint presentation to mark the moment and to provide our commission an opportunity to discuss this milestone and celebrate these appointments. You have a copy of the mayor's press release in your packets with biographical information. For Commissioners Lopez and Bolander, I just want to say thank you to both of you on behalf of all of our library staff. Each of you contribute differently but equally valuable and appreciated by our team. Thank you for your commitment to public service and congratulations on your reappointment. All right, and a hearty welcome and congratulations to our newest library commissioners, Anu Menon and Matt Kennison. Anu, your background will add tremendous value to our esteemed group of library commissioners. According to the mayor's press release, you are a leader in the world of philanthropy and the nonprofit and public sector with more than 25 years of experience building and scaling high-impact organizations. As founder and CEO of the Sahana Fund, you have deployed millions of dollars in trust-based philanthropic and political giving focused on women's rights, mental health, reproductive autonomy, and economic mobility. Previously, you served as executive director of Oasis for Girls and in senior roles in community engagement, operations, and policy, including leadership within the City and County of San Francisco with the Department on the Status of Women. Congratulations on your appointment. And Matt, many of us here at the San Francisco Public Library are already familiar with you and your contributions to our institution. For those of you who don't know Matt, he is a wealth management and fiduciary leader with nearly 3 decades of experience overseeing financial strategy, investment governance, and long-term stewardship of capital. Matt has a strong record of nonprofit and board service. He currently serves on the Board of Trustees of the San Francisco Friends School and previously served as treasurer and finance committee chair for the Friends and Foundation of the San Francisco Public Library. Congratulations, Matt. It's an honor to welcome both of you to your first Library Commission meeting, and I know our acting president, Calhoun, will likely move us to public comment next, but I'm sure the commission and our public in attendance would love to hear from you during the commission discussion later on this agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you, City Librarian. Much appreciated. At this point, we will open to public comment on this item. As a reminder, please limit your public comment to this specific item. Public comment is now open in the Latino room.
Thank you. I'm Peter Warfield, Executive Director of Library Users Association. We can be reached at P.O. Box 170544, San Francisco, California 94117-0544. Also at Library Users 2004 at protonmail.com. Welcome to the new library commissioners. Congratulations. And I want to speak about my interest, certainly in the library, and I hope we share a lot there. And that is the tremendous value of public libraries in general and our public library in particular. I have found the description of what one can get from a library is a lot of education and entertainment. In general, it's a wonderful entry point to both of those things and to a better understanding and appreciation, enjoyment, and participation even in our society, in our culture, and in our community in general. And I hope that you will be concerned and interested in maintaining that those values and also the independence of the library. In general, in America, we have public libraries, and here too, which are funded by the public, by the folks in the community, and presumably are there to serve those folks and not any particular interest or perspective as such. Generally, we look to the library for depth and breadth of a lot of coverage and a lot of material. So welcome, and I hope you'll be glad to support those values. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Is there any additional public comment?
Thank you, Margot. I'm just coming up to introduce myself. My name is Ruben Juarez. I'm the circulation supervisor at the Ocean View branch, where I've been since 2014. I'm also a labor leader. I am the union representative on the Health and Safety Committee. I'm an officer. I'm also a zero waste participant, leader part. I just wanted to welcome the new commissioners, as well as Commissioners Bolander and Lopez. Different labor leaders will be coming up and introducing ourselves, and we just wanted to say welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any additional public comment?
Good evening. My name is Lynn Davidson, and I am the Adult Services Manager at the Richmond Branch Library. I'm also the treasurer of the Librarians Guild at SEIU 1021 Local here at the library. It is my great pleasure to see all of you whom I already know here tonight and to welcome our returning and our brand new commissioners. We so look forward to working with you. Also, on behalf of our labor team and myself, I would like to sincerely express gratitude and appreciation to our management partners for the way that they worked with us constructively to solve this week a very challenging and pressing issue, that of opening temporarily extra hours in our branches to support our student and teacher and families in the community as they manage the teacher strike this week. There was a lot of open and honest dialogue and some very fruitful results, thanks to our labor team and our management team. And I'd also like to thank management for their public expression of acknowledgement of the role that labor played in making these logistical challenges solvable. So this was a beautiful thing to see and very inspiring. We feel that it's something that we can build on going forward. And it is just a great pleasure to see all of you here this evening. Thank you so much for supporting our communities and our families. Thank you. We are stronger together.
Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Choi. I'm a children's librarian at the Mission Bay Library. I am also the president of the Librarians Guild of SEIU 10 to 1. And like my colleagues, I'm here to just introduce myself and say welcome to the new commissioners and the returning commissioners. It's been a while since I've been at one of these meetings because I'm usually at the library doing story time and all my librarian work. But I would invite you also to come visit our branch libraries. If you haven't been to all of them, the Mission Bay Library is beautiful. Welcome. We look forward to working together. And yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any? Yes.
Well, since I'm a little short. Good evening. My name is Arcelia Montoya, and I am the union field representative for all our wonderful library workers. And I am welcoming the new library commissioners, and I am also extending my gratitude to all the commissioners in this committee for the service that you provide to all our wonderful library workers and to the community at all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any additional public comment on this item number 1? Okay, seeing none, public comment is closed, and I'll turn it over to my colleagues.
I feel like it was said by many, and Michael, you said it so well, but just incredible excitement and energy as we bring new people to the commission, and obviously deep gratitude to Commissioner Lopez and Bolander. You guys are incredible assets to the team, and excited to continue working all together.
I wanted to say thank you. It's an honor to serve this great institution in this great city with all of you. So I look forward to it.
I just want to say that get ready. It's fun with the Library Commission. It's a lot of learning and meeting amazing people and all the people that make the library excellent and one of the best in the world. So Anu, Matt, welcome. We are, we do have a big responsibility, and I'm so excited to be working with you both and continue to work with Vinny, Jared, and Sean. We are here to serve, so it's really exciting to strengthen our team with all that you bring with you, all the knowledge and skills. So welcome.
A great appreciation for the warm welcomes. Thank you. It's an extraordinary privilege to sit here and to be in a position to champion and support and enthusiastically participate in the life of our library in San Francisco. I look forward to learning a lot from my fellow commissioners. Thank you, City Librarian, Maureen, Dolly, as well as Margot. We've had a couple of days of onboarding, and we're ready to get into the meat of today's meeting, so I'll leave it there for now. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Commissioners Bolander and Lopez, I want to start with you two because I've leaned on you. I think we all have. From all of us, it's been said, but I want to say it again. Thank you for your service. Commissioners Kinnison and Menton, welcome. It's been said also. But I want to fully echo and endorse everything my colleagues have shared about each of you. We're lucky to have you on the commission, and probably most importantly as fellow San Franciscans. Your expertise will help us continue to support San Francisco's kids, families, and keep our city safe, and ensure a democratic, equitable, and community leadership profile in everything that we do. It's important to remember why we're here, and I know you'll hold us to that, and I appreciate that. I look forward to working with all of our amazing colleagues and, of course, everyone from the community as well. This new group is Powerhouse, and I'm excited. So thank you all very much. And we have a lot, as Matt said, on our agenda. Excuse me, Commissioner Kinnison. And we have a lot to cover. So onward. We now turn to item number 2. At this time, members of the public attending in person may address the commission on items of interest to the public that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. The public can address the commission on today's agenda items when that item is called. So, with that, general public comment is now open.
Good afternoon again. Peter Warfield, Executive Director, Library Users Association. P.O. Box 170544, San Francisco, California 94117-0544, and Library Users 2004 at protonmail.com. I've spoken before, and I'll speak again. There are some dangers that I think are facing the library and some problematic issues. One of them is the very serious, I think, dangers that we are facing with respect to aspects of the internet and, in particular, social media. And what I have spoken about repeatedly is that I'm concerned the library is uncritically touting social media and the internet in general without letting people know some of the dangers and some of the issues, including very strongly issues of privacy. Privacy is very important. It's an ethical element of librarianship. It's understood that intellectual freedom depends on the ability of people not to have to worry who's looking over their shoulder about what they're seeking information about or what they're reading, what they're consulting librarians on. And there are times when the library is not protecting people's confidentiality. For example, when you go online, when you get notices from the library by email, at the very least, people should understand some of the issues. I have talked about what Francis Haugen, President Biden, and the Surgeon General of the United States have talked about with respect to the dangers of social media and the internet. Currently, there are 40, I believe, attorney generals taking to court some of the companies that are handling this for the content issues. It's an important thing to consider.
Thank you. Is there any additional public comment?
Hello, library leaders. I'm Emily Garvey. I am the Executive Director of Friends of the San Francisco Public Library. I'm going to sneak in my congratulations in general public comment here. Congratulations to new commissioners Menon and Keniston. It's so wonderful to have you here, and congratulations on your reappointments, Commissioner Lopez and Bolander. We are thrilled to have the opportunity to work with you in this role. At Friends, we are the advocates, investors, and champions of our San Francisco Public Library. We mobilize public support to ensure that our library remains strong and accessible for all San Franciscans. We see our library shining brightly this week, as has already been referenced. No better example of our library as essential, supercharged third spaces ready to rise to the moment, whatever it brings. I personally have benefited from the library services this week as my daughter is out of school, and I have been dropping her off happily at various branch libraries as I have been pursuing my work as an advocate and champion of the library. So thank you to all of the library workers and all of the library leaders who have have been flexing and making that possible this week. Some updates. Friends continues to very closely monitor the charter reform initiatives moving through the city. Our primary goal is to make sure that the Library Preservation Fund, the library's dedicated public funding source, is protected and continues to be protected. We know that this is essential for our library to be accessible and strong for our community, and we are watching closely as these initiatives move forward and are standing by ready to advocate and defend the Library Preservation Fund that we know is critical. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any additional public comment?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jason Gibbs, retired librarian. We heard an excellent presentation from facilities at the previous meeting where we learned that incidents are down at the library. That may be true in quantity, but not in quality. Staff was very unsettled by the lethal shooting at the main library in September that the library did not even record as an incident. The lethal stabbing of a civil servant at SF General Hospital in December was also very alarming for public service workers. 2 weeks ago, a member of the public was loudly talking to himself at an internet computer on the 4th floor. Another patron came to the reference desk to ask that the distracting noise be addressed. The librarian approached the patron, who immediately started yelling at the librarian. He then pulled out a gun and put it on the table. It's unclear whether this was a real gun. It could have been an air pistol because the barrel was painted orange. On the other hand, an internet search will reveal that felons know to disguise a lethal weapon using this color. In any case, the intent was to menace the librarian. Alone at the desk, he called security, describing the patron and emphasizing the weapon, then walked away from the danger while the patron continued to loudly threaten him. The patron left on his own. Security did not respond, which is understandable. Who wants to be in a dark blue uniform encountering a potentially murderous person? The disappointing part of this is that no attempt was made to visually ID the man who would have crossed the path of security cameras. The man committed a level 1 infraction and should have been suspended for a year and was not. After the fact, staff learned conflicting information. One was that only our sheriffs are allowed to handle situations with firearms. Staff was also told, don't call security, call 911. It's obvious that the library is not prepared for and does not train for this kind of incident. It fell short of an active shooter incident for which staff is trained, but still potentially dangerous. And it's frightening. Imagine you saw someone with a weapon in the audience today. How would you feel? What would you do?
Thank you. Is there any additional public comment?
I think Jason was sharing a very deep and problematic scenario, and I want to pivot to something else. Last week we spoke about, it was shared about being a data-driven organization around safety. The data is derived from, in my understanding, and as I mentioned, I'm the union representative on the Health and Safety Committee. The data is taken from the incident reports that take place when there's a violation of the Code of Conduct. One of the things that I would like the commissioners to understand this afternoon is your frontline staff in writing incident reports is often involved. You have your other duties, like Jessica was sharing, you're doing a story time, or in terms of the circulation, that is the paraprofessionals, you're helping check out. Incident reporting can take a lot of time. So if it's data-driven, if you're following my chain of thought here, is it possible that sometimes incident reports aren't written? That it becomes a situation where, given the amount of energy and time, but that won't be reflected in the data. Do you understand the conundrum here? So I just wanted to share this piece with all of you so you can see a little bit of the flavor that frontline staff have to deal with. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further public comment?
I'm a public library user, and I want to express my gratitude for the resource and support you have provided for the public, especially for kids. I have a 5-year-old, and coming to the library becomes his daily routine to read a book, doing the scavenger hunt every day. And he actually prefers to coming to the library rather than going to the playground sometime. So thank you for that. The reason I come here today is I want to share a not the most pleasant experience my wife had yesterday at one of the branch, and it is not the first time she experienced this. So she participated to one of the activity this branch organized, and because children is out of school this week, she has to bring our son with her. But the activity, she was denied access to participate in the activity by the same staff for the reason that it is only for adults and the kids are not allowed. But my wife said to her that my son will only just sit there painting or reading books because she cannot let the kid to stay by himself. And the staff repeatedly trying to deny her the access, but eventually she did let my wife do the activity, and my wife has to finish it very quickly. The reason I say here is this is not the first time, not the second time. It's happened several times since last summer. And it's kind of sad that despite all the good experience we had, every time at this branch, she has to experience this. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I think we all do. Is there any further public comment on item number 2, general public comment? Okay, seeing none. Thank you. And we will now move on to item number 3. Discussion and possible actions to approve January 15, 2026 commission meetings. We will open public comment before discussion on this item. Is there any public comment on the minutes from our last meeting?
Peter Warfield, Executive Director, Library Users Association. We can be reached at P.O. Box 170544, San Francisco, California, 94117-0544, and Library Users 2004 at protonmail.com. These minutes are pretty unfortunate. They're supposed to, by law, summarize what a member of the public has said. And they do so when it's anything that isn't praise, in a way that is not only deficient, but misleading, drained of meaning, and leaving out any kind of detail that would make sense. In this summary, which is actually a little bit better than some others, it says that I talked about the concerns about the direction of the library, including touting of technology and AI. No, I said the uncritical touting of AI that the library engages in through its publicity at the library, for example, where it has a box, Get Social, ! And then all of the social media where it's presumably providing information, but encouraging people to go to social media and connect with it. Those boxes occur twice at the library every month, and there are the, the little symbols elsewhere on that publicity and elsewhere. I spoke of Frances Haugen, the former Meta employee, Facebook employee, a high-level person who testified at the Senate 3.5 years ago and gave information to newspapers that Facebook prioritizes profits over safety. And the Surgeon General has also talked about the problems for teenagers. I talked about discriminatory provision of services, including ebooks, sometimes titles with nothing but ebooks, and sometimes more availability of ebooks than print. More on discriminatory service.
Thank you. Is there any further public comment on our minutes from the last meeting? Thank you. Hearing no further comments, public comment is now closed, and we move to commission discussion and action on item number 3.
I would like to move to approve the minutes for January 15.
Thank you, Commissioner. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And I'll take the roll call. Commissioners, please say aye or no when I call your name. Calhoun.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
Bolander.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Menon.
Abstain?
Keniston.
Abstain.
Thank you all. The motion passes. We now turn to discussion and possible action to approve a fiscal year 2027-2028 annual budget for the San Francisco Public Library. I turn the meeting over to City Librarian Michael Lambert.
Thank you, Acting President Calhoun. Library staff appreciate the opportunity to present the fiscal years 27 and 28 budget for your consideration and potential action. In the previous 2 budget discussions from January and December, our CFO, Mike Fernandez, has relayed how the city's finances are heavily impacted by the significant budget deficit the city is facing this cycle, worsened by what's happening at the federal level and coupled with revenue growth that is not keeping pace with increased labor costs. In crafting the library's FY27 and FY28 budget, our team has endeavored to take a highly conservative approach consistent with budget instructions from the Mayor's Budget Office while preserving core services. Since our last meeting, library staff has taken the opportunity to perform some additional due diligence related to the budget discussion at the last commission meeting. We also have some additional budget proposals for your review and consideration today. CFO Mike Fernandez is back again this evening to deliver this presentation. Mike?
Thank you very much, Michael. Good evening, commissioners. I am pleased to present you the culmination of really what is a collective effort of the entire team. And I want to give a special thank you to Maureen, Christine Murdoch, who is our budget manager, and Saranya Rampayukul, who is a former fellow and a junior analyst. They do a ton of work behind the scenes to get us to this point. So tonight, as Michael laid out, I'll be going over where we are in our budget process, reviewing the current budget environment, reviewing where we start each budget process, the base budgets, the guiding principles we use to prioritize, propose budget enhancements for your consideration, review of new or revised proposals since January, asking for your approval, and reviewing the next steps. So this slide situates where we are here in the library's process. You can see by the red line, that's where we are. And that star highlights really your approval this evening, which we'll get to in a few minutes. But first, I'll briefly review the budget environment I touched on a few weeks ago. The city is facing over a $900 million budget deficit over the next 2 years. That projected deficit is a result of rising costs outpacing revenue growth. As I noted in January, the LPF, the Library Preservation Fund outlook, has improved since last budget by approximately $3 million, which is and expected to increase another $3.9 million in fiscal year 28, which is a modest 2% growth. We reviewed the mayor's budget instructions previously, and you can see them here. And the mayor took the different tact of, instead of asking departments for individual cuts, they asked us to come together and figure out how to contribute to $400 million in general fund savings. And as for the library, we're required to balance to our own revenue. All right. So to frame our proposal for your consideration, I think we should start with where the budget starts, the base budget. The base budget each year is for 2 years. The standard practice is to refer to the year one of the 2-year budget as budget year, and year 2 is budget year +1. Every year we start with what was approved in the last budget cycle, which was approved in last cycle's budget year plus one, which becomes our budget year. So for example, fiscal year 27 was approved last cycle as budget year plus one, and it's now budget year. Then the controller adjusts for new information that they've learned since the budget was approved by the board last July, and that results in our base budgets. They take that budget, for fiscal year 27. They take that budget and they copy it over to next year, apply any known or assumed cost changes, usually things like cost of living increases that are usually incorporated into our MOUs, and this becomes our base budget for fiscal year 28. Then they strip out any one-time costs like capital projects, which is why you can see our base capital go from fiscal year 27 from 1.9 million to 0 in fiscal year 28. We haven't put that in yet, basically. The budget proposals we present to you adjust those budgets. As a policy document, I think this budget really reflects our priorities. For me, I think the most transparent view is the use type, so we'll briefly discuss that table. It's clear that at 69 and 73% of our base budgets this cycle, our staff are the top, reflecting the library's role in San Francisco that goes beyond just a repository for information and our promise to the voters to maintain over 1,400 hours operating per week. Of course, collections plays a major role and is our second highest base expenditure, which is in line with other urban libraries our size. We do contract with some services, which is a broad range. It can consist of anything from programming support to technology services and licenses. The capital requests that we put in will vary each cycle based on need over a 2-year period. And then we always revisit, again, the second year capital projects in the following cycle. Services of other departments is a range of items from keeping our lights on, as you can see right here, to being able to respond to community via telephone or email, as well as fixing or making minor upgrades to our facilities. Last, I'd like to mention is our reserves. These are funds that we set aside last cycle as a source for budget proposals, rising costs, and to prepare for a weakening revenue outlook. And I will continue to stress the strategic plan Vision 2030 as our organizing principle. We use it to evaluate our proposals as they move through the organization, as they move our organization closer to realizing its objectives. We take an iterative review approach that involves discussions across the organization, taking advantage of the diverse expertise and perspectives we have here at the library. All right, so getting to our proposals. And a quick review, because I know we went through it last time and it is smaller in here. But just how to read this table. The proposals are grouped by budget priorities on the left. To the right of those proposals, you see an indication of whether this proposal is one-time or ongoing. And if it's ongoing, that means it gets added to our base budgets as it goes in the future years as we continue. Next, we have base budgets for the first year of the cycle, fiscal year 27. And next on the right is the additional amount proposed in fiscal year 27, followed by the amount we are proposing in addition to fiscal year 28. And finally, the total investment for the 2 years, fiscal years 27 and 28. And again, if the proposal is ongoing, it will effectively double the amount you're going to see in fiscal year 27, 28, and the amount in 28 adds on top of that. And really, I appreciated all that discussion we had last month. We went in depth on several of these proposals, and my colleagues and I are here to answer additional questions after this presentation. But since we do have a few changes, as Michael noted, we'll go ahead and start talking about those. So the first new investment is one I'm happy to report is securing the biennial PLA conference here in San Francisco for the first time. The number of conferences in the city is hosting is up 50% year over year. Conferences positively impact the local economy, and SFPL took this opportunity to draw the Public Library Association Conference in San Francisco in 2028 with this investment. As you recall from our budget calendar, negotiations with our partnering departments straddle a large portion of this department budget development phase. This investment timing was still underway in January because it's a question of whether the city would actually budget the costs in fiscal year 28 this cycle or the next. But really, a key point of this proposal is that investment will directly support our partners in labor at Moscone with direct employment, keep convention hall filled with an estimated 7,500 participants for the week. The facilities convention management will perform an analysis after the convention for the total economic impact, but currently they estimate that the convention will generate approximately $11 million in revenue for San Francisco, with the total impact anticipated to be, of course, greater than that. Ultimately, we propose this investment because it aligns with both the mayor's priorities as well as our strategic priority as a community catalyzer. This unique opportunity to foster experiences within and beyond the library that will create social connections with representatives of the member libraries and the San Francisco community, bringing us one step closer to realizing our Vision 2030. We have a few more new investments and one revision. The first we are proposing is to participate in the Bay Pass pilot program. This is a one-time investment of $274,000 in fiscal year 27 with no planned future investment in fiscal year 28. It's a one-year pilot. This program is a pilot run by the Metropolitan Transportation Commission and partners with universities, local government, and larger employers to provide unlimited Clipper cards for all of the over 900 employees here at the library at a reduced cost. The aim of their pilot is to understand the effects of this funding model on ridership, as well as the cost of maintaining their system. We are still working through some of the finer details of the program, but it would provide reduced cost monthly pass for the entire Clipper system. That means SFPL staff would have the opportunity to opt in to access Muni, BART, Golden Gate Transit, and others for 12 months. For reference, we currently pay for Muni passes for business travel at $107 a month, and we estimate roughly 2/3 of our staff live here in San Francisco. The other third, if you're taking, say, BART from Civic Center to West Oakland 5 days a week, that cost is approximately $185 a month. What we're considering is reducing those costs by anywhere from 1/3 to 2/3 cost. This proposal is in alignment with our priority to be a resource provider, and in this case, supporting our staff's ability to travel, as well as enriching the life of San Francisco by helping stabilize our local transportation system. So far, the pilot has demonstrated a 35% increase in total trips taken on public transit, and in phase one, the UCSF students in the program increased trips on our own SF Muni by 414%. The program surveys report both increased retention for employers as well as in-office attendance for a hybrid workforce. We have been monitoring the funding situation carefully over the last few months, and as well as been working with the Metropolitan Transportation Commission on refining the costs, and now feel confident that this is a proposal that you should consider for this cycle. The second is an upward substitution of a 1840 junior management assistant to a 3630 librarian 1. As you may already be familiar, Project READ is one of our successful adult literacy programs, which has provided resources to adult learners for nearly 40 years. This position was vacated due to retirement just this past month and gives us the opportunity to really right-size this position. As we look forward, we really need the flexibility from this position to provide leadership, especially in the area of programming, as well as direct frontline public service at the Bridge at Maine Literacy and Learning Center, which a junior classification is just simply not designed to do. The investment of $55,000, it would be an ongoing cost for this cycle and beyond. However, this investment does align with our Vision 2030 by expanding our ability to offer immersive and varied learning activities without resorting to having to add a new full-time equivalent position to our budget. And that last change is some good news for our budget. Thank you, Commissioner Jones, really, for your feedback a few weeks ago. And for everybody else, for context, the City and County of San Francisco has an enterprise agreement managed by our Department of Technology with Civic Plus to utilize a tool for archiving information, including social media and sunshine requests. The contract is structured such that a department like the library can attain a subscription, and that subscription's cost is based on the total quantity of records, posts, and comments. In exploring this investment, we were able to pilot the tool with our data and now have a much better gauge on our total need. So this reduction of 90% from $50,000 a year to $5,000 a year, roughly, reflects that really what our true need is and our lower subscription tier as a result. So thank you. To sum up, really, we're considering investing approximately $4.5 million in fiscal year 27, almost all of which would again be one-time investments. Fiscal year 28 proposes another $3.1 million, again, nearly all in one-time investments. These are only estimated budgets. These will change somewhat between now and when we submit the budget to the Controller's Office and the Mayor on February 23rd, and then again as we go through the mayor's phase as well as the board phase. In prior years, I would have jumped into reviewing different options and proposing budgets for your consideration, but again, this year is a little bit different. Really, the pace of the operating cost increases that we talked about last month, coupled with our relatively flat revenues, doesn't provide the kind of investment opportunities available to us in prior years. In response, staff has really crafted this budget proposal that makes the necessary investments while demonstrating stewardship the voters of San Francisco have entrusted in us when they renewed the Library Preservation Fund. After recognizing the operating costs increases that we must absorb, we propose a budget that minimizes new ongoing investments. We have identified some solutions that maintain our current service level while minimizing our budget impact that I highlighted last month, and those include finding capital savings to offset the cost of our security project, as well as partnering with the Department of Early Childhood and the state of California to share funding for the new initiative for the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. The one-time capital and equipment investments we feel are wise to put forward now, as delaying would only raise their costs in the future. So here's what the budget looks like. For our discussion, it'll be helpful to, again, walk you through how to read this table. Going from left to right, the first column is the sources of our revenue as well as the planned expenditures or uses by type. The next two are the current year's budget and the fiscal year 27 base budget, which we discussed earlier. The fourth column, and this is the key column really, is the proposed budget for fiscal year 27 that's for your consideration here tonight. The next column is the change from the current year's budget and the next year's budget, the current year's budget. The sixth column is the change from the base budget to the proposed budget. And the seventh column is the proposed budget for fiscal year 28, which again is for your consideration. The eighth and final column is the year-over-year change from the budget proposed in fiscal year 27 to the proposed budget in fiscal year 28. This year, we started with $4.4 million in reserves for fiscal year 27, as I mentioned earlier, available to fund the city's budget proposal. As you can see from the fiscal year 27 base budget column, which is the third column over, and on the reserves line, which is the last of that uses line. In addition, the net changes to the fiscal year 27 base budget resulted in a net positive of about $2.1 million in additional funds. These two really combine to allow us to propose these $4.5 million investments, again, largely one time, while drawing down just $2.9 million in fund balance, which, as you can see in the third column, fourth row. And I'll just take this opportunity to also remind you that really covering one-time expenditures is what the one-time source like fund balance is for. And so looking ahead, the budget we prepare for your consideration this evening advances our strategic priorities with modest investments that reflect the current environment while maintaining the funds necessary to maintain service levels our community relies on. In numbers, this results in a $197.74 million proposed budget in fiscal year 27 and $203.45 million in fiscal year 28. As part of your consideration, you should know that we are continuing to explore further opportunities for efficiencies, and that we're continuing to update this budget as we get more information on interagency costs before we submit to the mayor and the controller. This is no different than any other cycle, but I wanted to make sure you had that awareness. And as always, you'll be able to make your own recommendations and amendments here tonight. After we make our decision here, we'll be submitting the budget to the controller and the mayor, again, Monday, February 23rd. From there, the budget will be updated in the mayor's phase, as well as in the board's phase. And this year for us, it's going to start in May and go through June. Should you approve the budget here tonight, our next planned budget update is in August. And with that, thank you very, very much for your time and attention this evening. My colleagues and I will be here for questions.
Thank you, Mike.
Mr. Fernandez, thank you very much. City Librarian, thank you as well. We will now open public comment on this item. Is there any public comment in the Latino room on our proposed FY27 and FY28 budget?
Thank you, Mike, for the presentation. Just one of the questions I had from last time, just to get clarity. The upgrade of the security systems for all SFPL buildings. What does that mean exactly? So I'm not sure what that entails. And I think the piece about the Bay Pass is very exciting. Can you speak to that more, Mike, about what that involves? You mentioned it being at a reduced cost, but I'm not really familiar. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any additional public comment on this item?
Thank you. Peter Warfield, Executive Director, Library Users Association, P.O. Box 170544, San Francisco, California, 94117-0544, and Library Users 2004 at protonmail.com. There are a number of things that I think are very important, but also not necessarily costly at all. And considering that this is one of the wealthiest libraries in its size category in the United States, I think certainly there should be funding for this. There was many years ago, more than a decade ago, a privacy audit, and I think there's a desperate need for a privacy audit or review at this time and previously, actually, because without people knowing that they're safe from exposure or disclosure as to what they're getting from librarians, what they're discussing with librarians, what they're borrowing, and so on, the system will be a discouragement. And privacy, loss of privacy can be a lot worse than what it used to be, considering the political situation these days. The previous privacy audit also said that periodically there should be reviews based on a lot of things, including changes in tech. I'd like to equalize print with electronic access. Everybody can read a print, but not everybody can read a Kindle or something else that's requiring specific technological access and connection. And the library doesn't provide Kindles or anything else, except in a very few cases. I'd like to see better and more private printing and copying. On page 24, you're talking about making changes that's desperately needed. I'd like to see newspapers and periodicals counted and also made more accessible in ways that I could suggest.
Thank you. Is there any additional public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, public comment is now closed, and thank you. We now move to commission discussion and possible action on item number 4. Commissioners.
Mike, you continue to do an incredible job here. It's so thoughtful, and I really appreciate the teams taking kind of feedback here and going back and looking and uncovering opportunities. So kudos to you and the team. I know it takes a village, so I know there are a lot of people who are helping out there. I had one just question around the new investment summary.
Sure.
Do we typically have the contribution of kind of new investments to the total around this 2%? I noticed that it goes from, in 2027, it's at 2.3% contribution, and then it drops down into fiscal 28 to 1.5. Is this a place where, when we kind of, do we have a sweet spot where we usually kind of come in year over year? Or are we buffered enough in the kind of new investment proposal as we look forward to 2028? And I'm sorry, I'm just bringing this up now. I just noticed kind of that decline. I just want to make sure do we know where that number usually sits?
Yeah, that number will be very contextual, right? So it will really, the trajectory of our revenues are going to have a lot to say about that, as well as kind of trajectory of known operating costs. So when we think of our largest cost category like labor and what that's going to take out into that future year, that really sort of tempers what we're thinking about in that budget year plus one. The other thing, that we take into consideration is that when we're forming our budget, we know that we're also going to revisit budget year plus one every year, right? So fiscal year 28 will become our budget year when I'm here next year, or this time next year. So when we're thinking about what investments we want to make, we're thoughtful in what we know now, but also taking into consideration there's going to be new information, there's going to be new things that we're going to become aware of. Priorities could shift slightly, and new opportunities could arise. So we're always, I would think, in generally speaking, you will frequently see that second year with a little bit more latitude to be able to adjust and sort of make those decisions again in the next cycle when we have the better opportunity to really act on them, right? And just as a kind of as a practical matter too, it's not like we can spend fiscal year 28 dollars now, right? So in another sense, the fiscal year 27 in some ways is really our firm commitment. This is what we know we're going for. And the planning that we're doing for fiscal year 28, some of it is jumpstarting those commitments, and in some cases, and sometimes, there are things like when we're considering the PLA conference, maybe that is something we do now, or something we hold back because we have a little bit more optionality there as well. So before we get, in some cases, maybe we're just trying to avoid putting the cart in front of the horse too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I just wanted to add too, a lot of times with some of the one-time investments, it really depends on the cash flow need of a particular capital project. So in the past, when we knew we were getting ready to put out to bid, say, the Mission Branch project, you would have seen a big spike in that funding year. So we work very closely with our colleagues at Public Works as well as our Facilities Division to determine those cash flow needs. Also, with respect to, say, equipment, we're taking a look at useful life and seeing if there's possibility to squeeze a few more years out of some of the vehicles or whatever other requirements are. The thing that we are pretty consistent about is having a set figure percent for our facilities state of good repair. So keeping that as a constant investment for us so that we are able to respond pretty quickly to things like roof leaks and just having the supply necessary to take care of the facilities and keep them in good state.
Yeah, thank you. Helpful. The second thing I just want to say is I agree. The Bay, I said Bay Beats, the Bay Pass
That's cool.
pilot program, I think is exceptional. I love how we are supporting our community and staff members. I want to be sure also, as you guys are thinking about the messaging of it to the community, that it's really engaging, because sometimes, even in my own experience as an employee, sometimes those things get lost and people don't know about incredible perks that are at their kind of disposal. And so I think just making sure that everyone knows that this is an opportunity for them to participate in is going to be really important. So that it becomes more than a pilot, it becomes just the everyday expectation.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely. Thank you for that. And one thing, I glossed in the presentation too. I didn't want to take too much of our time, but it's nice that San Francisco Airport has been the first within the city to go forward, because they've built a lot of that messaging, and they've seen how their user acceptance or the user uptake of that perk has changed based on that messaging, and so they've already been in touch and offered to help. So
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks, Mike, again for great job to the team. A couple of things, just could you comment on how the rest of the city is handling it, everything? One. And then two, I know we sometimes have to pay for other city departments, and I'm curious if we see those costs going up because they're trying to shift and shimmy as you know, the funny, not the funny money, but, you know, like the monies that they're going to need to try to do. So if you could comment on that, has anything's changed since last time?
Yeah, sure. So it's hard for me to speak about other departments because I don't work for them. So just generally speaking, I think the city does its best to really address these structural issues. I think this mayoral administration has made it very clear to all of our departments that this is a priority and something to take very seriously. And I think that is happening, I think, across the city. So I would say that. I think so as far as that goes, I think they are looking at that. As far as any changes from January till now, with respect to any departments trying to think of ways to partner with us to help share some of their burden, there hasn't been a lot of movement in that area right now. But as I mentioned in the presentation, this period of this interagency like work order kind of negotiation and development is really ongoing, and so we likely will see some changes there. But as I really don't have much to report on it at this time.
Okay, because I remember last time when we were getting like quotes on building things, and it was ridiculously crazy, like exactly, why is this that way? So, okay, so just, I'm glad you're aware of it, and you always are, but I'm just curious to see how it's going to impact us and how we're going to be thoughtful. I mean, obviously we want to be good, what do we call, city family, I guess, but also like, don't put your stuff on us if it's not on us,
Absolutely.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kinnison.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Maureen. I don't have any questions, but I wanted to take a moment to express my genuine appreciation to the team of talented and committed library colleagues who worked hard collaboratively to prepare, refine, and present the budget at this meeting, as well as prior commission meetings, as well as earlier this week in our onboarding session. I'm a fond believer that numbers tell a story. And to me, the story that's being told here is of mission alignment, careful stewardship, and I genuinely do appreciate that, so thank you.
Thank you very much for those comments, Commissioner.
My thanks as well. Matt stole my line. That alignment piece cannot be overstated, in my opinion. So thank you, Commissioner, for leading the charge there. And I also want to just give a shout out to the support for the Public Library Association biannual. That is incredibly important work, and I think it's really an opportunity for everyone to shine, right? And I think everyone in this room who works here is going to benefit from it. I think everyone who brings something back from that to their library, to their operation, where all boats will be lifted by this, and that alignment piece with where Mayor Lurie and others want our city to go. So I'm grateful for those additions. I think they're all well thought through. And I would like to close my comments there and see if we can get a motion to approve the FY27, FY28 budget as presented.
I so move.
Thank you, Commissioner. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And I'll take the roll call. Commissioners, please say aye or no when I call your name. Calhoun.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
Bolander.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Menon.
Aye.
Keniston.
Aye.
Fantastic. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Next, yeah. It's been a journey. Yeah. Thank you all so much. We now turn to item number 5, discussion on the city librarian's report. I turn the meeting over to City Librarian Michael Lambert. Michael.
Thank you, Acting President Calhoun. We have multiple reports this evening, and I'm pleased to introduce our first presenter. Shauna Sherman is the program manager for the African American Center here on the 3rd floor of the main library, and she's going to tell us about More Than a Month.
Good evening, commissioners, and welcome new commissioners, and congratulations to the reappointees. As our city librarian said, I'm Shauna Sherman, program manager for the African American Center, which is on the 3rd floor of the main library. Happy Black History Month.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah,
let's clap for that. And thank you for having me to talk about all the activities that our library will be hosting for More Than a Month, or this More Than a Month program on the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations in our country. The art you see in front of you is by San Francisco native Malik Seneferu. It's titled On the Move, which I think is an apt symbol because Black people have always been on the move, whether that's on the move to create opportunity, on the move in a fight for representation, or on the move for recognition of all the positive we have contributed to this country. I like to look at the spirals on the cheeks of the subjects of this painting and think of how the spiral symbolizes growth and nonlinear journeys. At a time when stereotypes about Black people persist in our culture, when we may be feeling beleaguered, when we may be wondering what happened to all the anti-racist movement, we can meditate on the spirals in the cheeks of the young people in this painting and think back to when we were successful in fighting for our civil rights and know that the circle may come back around again. As a librarian for the African American Center in the Citadel to Knowledge, in a space dedicated to Black history, it is clear to me that our job is even more important as we continue to highlight the ways that African Americans have made contributions to this country. And at SFPL, we celebrate Black history all year round, and we started this January kicking it off with a program called Divine Forces, which discussed the influence of African cosmology on Black literature. The event featured best-selling author Tomi Adeyemi, seen here on the right in conversation with Isis Azari, our partner from Sista Sci-Fi. Ms. Adeyemi signed books for almost 2 hours in this very same space. It was a wonderful event after a well-received talk on intuition and divine forces. In January, we also hosted the opening ceremony for our newest exhibit in the African American Center called We've Got Soul, which was curated by our African American Center librarian, Rachel, and which shows how the multi-billion-dollar sneaker industry got its start in hip-hop, breakdancing, and on basketball courts. Thank you to the support of our exhibits department for making that exhibition happen. So last night, we heard from Dr. Artel Great on how a group of comedians in the 1980s, known as the Black Pack, stood up to Hollywood through what he calls resistance humor. And next week, we will screen the signature movie from that group, Coming to America. Later this month, we will celebrate another cohort of emerging Black writers in the Muses to Melanin Fellowship. And in March, we will hear stories of Black women in the Great Migration to Northern California. Partnerships are key to our work at the African American Center, and I want to shout out the African American Legacy Book Club, which we run in partnership with the African American Historical and Cultural Society in this city, and we meet bi-monthly and online, and next month we will honor the life of Betty Reed Soskin, who spoke here on the publication of her new memoir, Sign My Name to Freedom, which we will be reading for that month. But you don't have to come to the main library for Black History Month programming because we're celebrating everywhere in the city. And thank you to our Cultural Amplifier Committee for their hard work in finding a host of great performers to a host of great performers to our libraries across the city. For all ages, did I mention we have music? So many great musicians to hear at the library this February, including Guitar Trifecta and the Dwayne Oakley Blues Ensemble, who performed at our Noe Valley and Parkside branches already this month. and to our longtime partner, Keenan Webster, who will be performing music of the Mende-speaking people, and soulful harpist Desi Muhammad, who will tell the story of Black history through sounds of African ancestry, field howlers, and jazz. We also have activities for adults and opportunities to come together using our hands. Last weekend, noted San Francisco artist Ramakant O.R. Wisters hosted a crochet jam at the Richmond branch, which was an art-making event focused on relaxation and human connection. There is also an opportunity to create mixed media art collages while learning San Francisco Black history with Honey Art Studio at the Excelsior branch on the 17th. And we got authors at the library. Kashana Colley talks about her book, and which is this month's On the Same Page selection, The Survivalist, in conversation with author Audrey T. Williams. You can check out The Survivalist at all of our branches. In addition to story times that happen regularly, we're inviting artists, musicians, and storytellers to our libraries, spaces for youth and families with a diverse array of programming. Nicole Talbot of Assay Arts will spin the tail and facilitate a craft on Anansi the Spider, a beloved character in West African and Caribbean folklore. And then Unique Derek, a self-proclaimed clown prince of fools, shares his unique brand of physical comedy and hand-bone body percussion. Baba Shimbabo of African Music Arts Village, a South African percussionist, introduces attendees to traditional drums, marimbas, and other indigenous instruments. And Kirk Waller, well-known Bay Area storyteller, combines music, movement, and spoken word to weave together a magical storytelling experience. And last but not least, Awan Mance, a professor of American literature and a lifelong artist and writer, will be offering a drawing workshop for youth and families. Mance, who wrote and illustrated a picture storybook, What Do Brothers Do All Day, also has an exhibit up at our main library children's center. Our capstone event this year is an annual celebration that's become near and dear to the Black and Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander community. Drum Beats, Heartbeats at the main library, February 24th. Representing the intersectionality between two communities, Drum Beats, Heartbeats celebrates Lunar New Year and Black History Month with cultural music, dancing, and literature from Dunya Dance and Drum Company, Lion Dance Me, along with youth poetry readings. The event is a partnership between the San Francisco Human Rights Commission, APA Heritage Foundation, Booker T. Washington Community Service Center, and Friends of the San Francisco Public Library. In closing, I want to thank you for your time, and I hope to see you at one of our library events celebrating with community and building a future for Black history in San Francisco at the San Francisco Public Library. More information on all these programs can be found on the sfpl.org/events website. Filter the search results for more than a month. And thank you to all the library departments who helped put on these programs, and to the Friends of the San Francisco Public Library for their continued support. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Shauna. Thank you for your leadership. Every year, you just take it to another level. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, I am now going to introduce our next presenter, Ileana Pulu, our Youth Services Manager. Ileana was promoted recently after serving for a long time as the acting Youth Services Manager. She's going to keep crushing it tonight. She's going to be talking about Mayor Lurie's appointment of a new Youth Poet Laureate and a Vice Youth Poet Laureate, a first here in San Francisco. Take it away.
Thank you, Michael.
Yes. So good evening, commissioners. I'm thrilled to share out about the culmination of a momentous event that's been in the works for many years. Having a San Francisco Youth Poet Laureate is a meaningful action towards providing creative outlets and allowing young people agency to craft the power of poetry. We are so grateful for the hard work our trusted local partners, 826 Valencia and You Speaks, poured into this process. We appreciate being a part of the national landscape with Urban Word, and finally, with support from Mayor Daniel Lurie, we're able to elevate the San Francisco Youth Poet Laureate to join our San Francisco Drag Laureate and San Francisco Poet Laureate as mayoral appointees. So the process started this past summer, where 826 Valencia Youth Speaks in the Library received 52 applications to be a part of the Youth Poet Laureate cohort. Through a very detailed and thorough selection process led by Youth Speaks in 826 Valencia, 20 youth poets were accepted to participate in weekly workshops led by teaching artists from both organizations, as well as previous adult and youth poet laureates from the Bay Area. Youth continued to build and refine their poetry writing and performance skills. Then 13 young people completed the workshops, submitted their final work to the review committee, and performed at a culminating event that showcased their publication. I Can Feel You Across the Seas is the published collection of poetry by San Francisco Youth Poet Laureate cohort with illustrations by Cindy Santamaria, with a foreword from our own San Francisco Poet Laureate, Jenny Lim. The poetry is in 3 sections, aptly named Swim, The Deep, and Up for Air. The cohort, along with their facilitators from the organizations, supported, advocated, and cared deeply for each other. We're working to get this in every single library here in San Francisco. Leticia Guzman, 2025 Hayward Poet Laureate and Creative Youth Development and Arts in Education Program Associate at You Speaks, helped co-lead workshops through her role with You Speaks, and I'd like to invite her to be able to speak a little bit about her experience. Leti?
Hello, I am Leticia Guzman, and I spent the last 4 to 6 months working with these young people. We worked on developing their artist portfolios, which included workshops to create their artist bios. They received professional headshots, generated work about San Francisco, and learned performance skills and how to be comfortable in front of a crowd. I then led the selection committee with artists and community members from across the Bay Area, including our friend at the library, Jason Hill, and Whitney Jones. And it was so much fun to review their applications together and talk and really connect with one another across the city. Even as people who were organizing, we got to work closely with one another and learn so much about this process. The young people really dove deep into their art and craft and submitted their favorite poems that they wrote or generated in our workshops. And our next step is to support the Youth Poet Laureate, Karan Gupta, to submit to the National Youth Poet Laureate application, which is due at the end of the month. So we are working hard. And we are also working on recruiting more SFUSD students, since a lot of our students in this cohort round were private school students. We are working with scheduling school assemblies and doing more promotion with our local partners. And this cohort would not have been possible without the advocacy of young people, support from community members, and the support from the library. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Leti. So on Friday, January 23rd, the Correct Auditorium was packed and buzzing with that anticipation and excitement for the first SF Youth Poet Laureate Showcase, featuring these dynamic young people from our schools and neighborhoods throughout San Francisco, with an unconventional introduction that was captured and shared by ABC 7 News. City Librarian Michael Lambert shared his love of hip hop by rapping a welcome to Mayor Daniel Lurie. While the night was just getting started for these young folks, they, along with members of their facilitation team and selection committee members, were able to stand and shine in celebration of being the first Youth Poet Laureate cohort of San Francisco. Then the excellent MC team from You Speaks set the stage for all cohort members to be congratulated. So thanks to the thoughtful and diligent selection committee representing the arts, the library, and the community who worked on a tight deadline to review these submissions. And finally, lifting up the Youth Poet Laureate Karan Gupta and Vice Youth Poet Laureate Aisha McCulloch. Karan and Aisha have both received write-ups by local media, were invited to the Bay Area Super Bowl host committee to perform at an event at the Super Bowl and attend, and have additional upcoming events and opportunities. As a whole, what's really unique about this cohort in San Francisco is all of the Youth Poet Laureate members from the cohort are offered opportunities to be able to share their work. So we're looking forward to seeing their vision and what they and all the members of the cohort bring to our beloved city. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your leadership, Ileana. And I also just want to highlight our San Francisco Youth Poet Laureate program. We're able, in the city and county of San Francisco, to provide all the cohort members with a deposit into their kindergarten to college account, their 529
Yes,
college
thank
account.
you. Thank you. I apologize. I missed that. Yes, they all receive a deposit into their account, and our Youth Poet Laureate and our Vice also receive award in addition. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. I have one more late breaking report. You may have been following the media this week. You did receive some additional explanatory documents in your packets. But San Francisco Public Library locations have been activated this week as free meal sites to address food insecurity during the teacher strike and the closure of San Francisco Unified schools across the city. Beginning Tuesday of this week, San Francisco Public Library activated the Bernal Heights branch, Ingleside branch, Portola branch, Potrero branch, and Visitation Valley branch, along with the main library here, as designated free meal sites for youth and families to pick up grab-and-go meals on a first-come, first-served basis. Thank you. Through the support of the Friends and Foundation of the San Francisco Public Library, we were also able to augment the food available for distribution. So the impact of the teacher strike has definitely been felt across the city and across our library system. I looked at some data that the Research Strategy and Analytics unit here at the library provided, and earlier today, foot traffic was up 11% year over year through Wednesday, and that was up 21.6% on Monday alone. I was just perusing the data for today, and foot traffic for Thursday, today, year over year, is up 65.5% for the same Thursday a year ago. So just phenomenal.
Wild.
The increase in foot traffic in our libraries. And the increase was particularly concentrated between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. With the earlier data, we showed that foot traffic was up 40% during those peak hours year over year. The free meal sites saw the largest gains with a 61% increase midday on Tuesday and Wednesday. Let's see. So our branches division, they also staffed up yesterday, today, and we are planning to open early tomorrow at 10 a.m. So for the past 3 days, we have opened consistently each day this week to provide youth and families a safe and enriching destination. We want to try to meet this moment. So to put that in perspective, all told, including tomorrow, we will have added 113 additional hours of operation very quickly. And the mix at SFPL, our Teen Digital Media Lab, and the Fisher Children's Center will also open at 10 a.m. early tomorrow. So that's a couple hours earlier before our usual 12 noon opening time. You heard it before from our labor partners, but I do want to express gratitude to our labor partners, SEIU 1021, for working with us very quickly. Without your partnership, this would not have been possible, so thank you. And, I'm very grateful for the commitment and the hard work of all of our staff across the system who stepped up to provide this safe and welcoming environment for youth and families who might otherwise not have had good options available to them. We will continue to monitor the situation and work with our partners at the Department of Children, Youth, and Families and the Recreation and Parks Department, and also the community-based organizations across the city that are stepping up in this moment. Of course, we're hopeful that an agreement will be reached by the school administration and the teachers union, hopefully any moment. But we're going to be poised to continue the dialogue with our labor partners tomorrow and talk about what may be possible next week and beyond. And that concludes the city librarian's report.
My mic was on the whole time. Thank you very much. We will now open public comment before commission discussion on this item. As a reminder, please limit your public comment to this specific agenda item. Public comment is now open.
Hi, Jessica Choi again, children's librarian and president of the Librarians Guild of SEIU 1021. I want to reiterate what Michael said. We had to move quickly to come up with a plan to expand our open hours this week. As a mom of 2 public school students, that's not easy for us necessarily to be at work more when our kids are out of school, but we're able to do it and recognize that our educators, it's not just teachers, it's librarians, it's social workers, it's the security guards, it's the custodians, it's all of us workers in the schools that are out on strike right now. And we, I lost my train of thought. We want to do what we can to support our community in this time and recognize that the last time our educators were on strike and schools were closed was in 1979. So I hope you as a commission recognize that this is a unique situation. We've all had to stretch, and I just appreciate the partnership that we've worked through this week to make that happen. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there any additional public comment on this item?
Yes, Peter Warfield, head of Library Users Association. Thank you for this report. And thank you for all of those, for what's happening. With respect to the late thing, I'm wondering if there's anything for the public here. I'd certainly like to see that report. And also remind everybody that the library has served as necessary as a cooling center as well. And I think that's a terrific example, and this one as well, of stepping in for the community that we live in. Not mentioned today was something that happened recently, which was a showing of The Librarians. We haven't heard about that, but that was well attended. It's a very interesting film. KQED presented a fuller version. I didn't know that we were going to get a shorter version at the library, but as a fuller version, they presented that on Monday evening at 10 o'clock. A little late, but stay up. It was very, very interesting, and a reminder that libraries are in various ways under attack, and I think that it's important that our library defend itself, and for that matter, that the commission know what kinds of pressures are being brought and what the commission is doing or will do or plans on doing and so on, should there be pressures. We know that libraries have been targets of government research, presumably in the past as well, and have already suffered some losses from on high. With respect to Black History Month, I just wanted to say that I looked at an adult nonfiction list and was a little surprised and disappointed not to see major big names, Martin Luther King, Bayard Rustin, James Baldwin, as examples of
Thank you. Is there any additional public comment on this item? Hearing no further public comment is now closed, and I turn to the commission for discussion on item number 5.
I just want to say that I think for the Black History Programming, Youth Poet Laureate, and also what the library is doing with the school closures is just really astounding, and the breadth and depth of the offerings and all the hard work that everyone's putting in and creativity has been really amazing. I think really reflects the spirit of San Francisco, so thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Jones.
I want to echo that, Shauna. What you're doing this. I love how you said it's a year. It's not just this month, and I felt that expansiveness in the programming and the offering. And I don't need a mic. I can project.
That's probably true.
And I just want to commend all the incredible work. This is my first time, actually. I feel like I didn't maybe get it last year because I was a little later. We missed it, and it's really incredible work. So congratulations and thank you, Ileana and Letty. I was lucky enough, yes, to be part of just the community, and that night was electric. If you get an opportunity to go next year, you must go. What you guys are building and what we are creating in San Francisco is a movement, and I'm so grateful to have been part of just the initiation of it. But it was incredible, and it was so moving. I'm reading the book. I bought the book, even though I read the poetry before. But just congrats, because it was a really incredible night. And Michael, you crushed it. And then what we are doing this week as a library, and I want to commend the labor team, this is being flexible. This is showing up for our communities, and that is what this institution is, in my opinion, at its core. And I am so grateful for everyone coming together and so moved. I mean, the word I wrote down here, I was like, moved. This whole presentation has moved me, and I feel like that is representative of everyone here. And so thank you. It's incredible work, and it's doing what's right. So thank you for being partners to the team here. It's really incredible.
A lot of the things that I wanted to say have been said already, but I do want to say, Shauna, every year, more than a month is amazing, incredibly diverse within, like the different authors, the different programming, and the partnerships. I always appreciate how you partner with, like so many people within the community and also from outside. My favorite is always drum beats and heartbeats. I think that fusion of energy and the combination is amazing. So if you haven't participated, February 24, it is like you cannot stay still. You want to dance. So you always want to, because it's just great, and it's a learning experience. So, and all the programming. So, sometimes like I always say, I wish I didn't have a full-time job so I can go to all these events. But Ileana and Letty, I think you brought up something really interesting, which is getting San Francisco Unified School students more engaged. I think that that is definitely, there's so much talent there in our public schools, which leads me to say to the labor personnel, you know, this is community. And what you're doing as a former high school teacher, I know that it's been since 79, and every year, you know, the teachers struggle. And the peace of mind that you're giving to families, because they cannot, many of the families cannot stop working. You know, they cannot take the luxury of saying, you know, I'm going to take time off to be with my kids. And knowing that they're going to be safe, they're going to be fed, and that they're going to be learning, it's so important. And what you're doing, this is not the first time. We saw it during the pandemic. And I really want to thank you. I commend you for working with leadership and to do what you do. So thank you is not enough. You are heroes as well. So I just really want to say that our students, those kids probably that have never been at the library before, because let me tell you, some of the high school or school libraries are not as fun as this one. So they will remember, and you already created patrons to the library, and let's give them library cards and get them here. And then I just think that you should be commended for everything that you're doing. So thank you.
Yeah, all of that and more. You know, as I think about what we just experienced, I think Commissioner Jones summed it up. It is a movement. And, you know, maybe my thread through all of this is actually about trust. I think that in order to accomplish what's been accomplished in the last few days, there was a foundation there that everyone in this room has been working on for a very long time. And it is through a shared, hopefully, sense of trust and commitment to what we're capable of that we've seen something appear out of nothing in just a few days. When I think about our future, it is our youth. And when I want to know what's happening in the world, I always ask a poet. Always. And if we've, through the programs you all have done, have created maybe a sense that the grown-ups haven't screwed it all up yet, and they're willing to show up and show out for each other and for us, maybe there's a little trust that's been built there as well. And then when I think about the work that Shauna and your team do, we have so much trust that we have to rebuild, that we've been tearing down as a country for a very long time. And so for me, actually, Shauna, I think you've done more than enough. I think it's up to us. It's up to us to support and bring a sense of trust that's been eroding, unfortunately, very rapidly recently. But we have a lot of work to do in our communities, for our youth and families. And so I want to look to all of us and ask us, what are we going to do? We're here today. You know, it's very wonky, but when we look at the budget we just passed, I think there's evidence of us trying to support the work that everyone in here is doing. But we have a lot more to do. So to everyone who presented tonight, thank you. I'm truly grateful. We now turn to item number 6, discussion and possible action to nominate and elect 2026 commission officers. This agenda item is the discussion and action to nominate and elect Library Commission President and Vice President for the 2026 calendar year. We will open public comment before commission discussion on this item. Public comment is now open in the Latino room.
Peter Warfield, Executive Director, Library Users Association, P.O. Box 170544, San Francisco, California, 94117-0544, and Library Users 2004 at protonmail.com. It's my understanding, having attended Library Commission meetings recently, that we just voted a full slate of president and vice president, and I don't see any explanation of unelecting anybody or why we're now electing officers when I think that happened in the last 2 months, I think December. I was fine with the selection there. The vice president is chairing right now, and I'm feeling a little bit like the Soviet Union watchers who on May Day would watch to see which people moved closer to the center and which people moved further away or out. And if I look at the list of names of library commissioners, I guess I don't see Connie Wolf. So I'm not clear why we're having a second election within 2 months and I think it deserves an explanation. As I said, I was fine with the selection, and maybe an explanation would be useful before we're talking about having it again. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any additional public comment on this item? Thank you. Hearing no further requests for comment, public comment is now closed. In a moment, I will call for nominations for the election of our 2026 officers. These nominations will be for commission president and vice president. Commissioners, no second is required for the nomination of officers. A simple majority will elect our president and vice president. Each commissioner will have an opportunity to vote, even on a nomination in which they may be the nominee. The first candidate to receive a majority of the votes is elected and serves immediately. There is no need to continue voting on additional nominations for president or vice president once a nominee receives 4 or more votes. Commissioners vote on the nominations in the order the nominations are received. First, we will call for nominations for president. Are there any commissioners who would like to make a nomination?
I would.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Acting President Calhoun. Over the past year, I've had the opportunity to get to know Dr. Sean Calhoun, not just as a fellow commissioner, but as a professional leader and a fellow lover of coffee and aviation. In that time, he has consistently shown himself to be dedicated, thoughtful, and deeply knowledgeable on a wide variety of topics. His professional experience in the field brings real credibility and practical insights to this commission, and it's precisely that expertise that makes him an ideal candidate to serve as president. Sean brings a unique and refreshing perspective to our work here, one that balances strategic thinking with a clear understanding of how libraries function day to day. He approaches issues with care, curiosity, and a genuine commitment to get things done right, not just getting them done. I also particularly encouraged by Sean's thoughtfulness towards staff. He understands that strong leadership is built on respect, trust, and collaboration, and I believe staff will find him a supportive and steady presence as president. Above all, Sean is someone I trust to serve this commission and, more importantly, the people of San Francisco with integrity, diligence, and care. That is why it's my privilege to nominate Dr. Sean Calhoun for president of this commission.
Thank you, Commissioner Bolander. Are there any other nominations for president? Hearing none. Nominations for president are now closed, and we will commence with voting for nominations in the order they were received.
I'll take the roll call for the nomination of Dr. Sean Calhoun for Commission President. Commissioners, please say aye or no when I call your name. Commissioner Calhoun.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
Bolander.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Menon.
Aye.
Keniston.
Aye.
President Calhoun is our 2026 Commission President.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we will now move to nominations for the 2026 Vice President. A simple majority elects our 2026 Vice President. Each commissioner will have the opportunity to vote, even for a nomination in which they may be a nominee. There is no need to continue voting on additional nominations for Vice President once a nominee receives 4 votes. At this time, are there any commissioners who would like to make a motion for Vice President? Yes.
I would like to make a motion to nominate Whitney Jones on behalf of our Commissioner P. Wong. He wrote a statement which I will go ahead and read. To my fellow commissioners, first, I apologize for not being in attendance this evening, and I thank Commissioner Lopez for communicating my thoughts via this statement. I'm excited to support Commissioner Jones as Vice President. The past year has made it so clear that she adds such a unique perspective. She's inquisitive, she does her homework, and she looks to the future. The library is facing dual challenges. One, to expand beyond its traditional scope, while two, to do it thoughtfully and with a practical lens. I hope it is clear to all of us commissioners that Commissioner Jones is such a valuable voice to steer the library through these challenges. I look forward to supporting her as a Vice President, and tonight I hope you all join me in voting aye for her candidacy to the Vice President. Commissioner Pete Wong.
Thank you, Commissioner Lopez. Are there any other nominations for Vice President? Vice President nominations are now closed. We will now commence with voting for Commission Vice President.
I will take the roll call for the nomination of Whitney Jones for Commission Vice President. Commissioners, please say aye or no when I call your name. President Calhoun.
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez.
Aye.
Bolander.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Menon.
Aye.
Keniston.
Aye.
Sorry. Vice President Whitney Jones is our 2026 Commission Vice President.
Let's go. All right. Congratulations, I guess, to all of us. Wow. That's kind of awkward. It looked good on the script, folks. It really did. Thank you all so much. And it's been a wonderful evening to all the staff, especially those folks out in the branches. Thank you. And our meeting is adjourned.